how appropriate that it's Pan That Palette update and it's a very neutral palette and I'm not even wearing it on my eyes today. Like, and also I don't really know like what happened with this eye look. Like I can see it in the viewfinder and it looks better on camera than it does in real life, I think. But I was like, oh, color. Let me add all the things onto my lids. Like I got that too much gene and it was too much. So okay, Pan That Palette update 4, month 4, 4 months of usage, however you want to say it. Also, I just really like doing this. Anyway, so yeah, I am panning in 2020 the Lorac Mega Pro 1, and it's going by. It's going by. It's going by a lot slower than the Mega Pro 4 that I did last year. I think there are two reasons to that. The Mega Pro 4 I feel like was a different formula. It wasn't a bad formula, but it was different. The mattes in the Mega Pro 4 were much more like powdery, softer than like the mattes in here. So that's slowing down progress. And then also too, last year, I really just used that one eyeshadow palette. Like a lot of other stuff in my collection just sat neglected. And that was really sad to me. So this year, since I am doing this and pan those eyeshadows, and then I just allow myself like play days sometimes because I don't like, even though that means not as good progress on this as like I did last year with the Mega Pro 4, I feel better because a lot more stuff in my collection is getting touched. Hopefully that makes sense. I guess I kind of feel like I need to explain that because I don't want this to seem boring since the progress is like moving more slowly. But anyway, let's just get into what this palette looked like last month, and then I will open it up and show you what it's looking like this month. Okay, you ready? Here we are after 4 months of usage. All right. I do have to apologize. It's, which I know we talked about not apologizing for things out of our control, but it's really like cloudy here and it's April 30th. Like has to go up tomorrow. It's really cloudy and like rainy. So I do have the ring light on and I had to jack it up because I only have like the window and then there's no like extra lighting in here. So hopefully it's not washing it out too much, but we're just gonna have to deal with it, right? So let's just go down the rows. I am kind of upset. I have spent so much time with Sepia here. I think you can really see the dip in it. I have worn that. That has just been like my daily go-to transition shade when it's like appropriate for the look. I've used that shade so much over this past month and I still don't have any pan in it. It's kind of disheartening a little bit, I guess. I don't know. I really thought I would have pan by this month. And so I know that these mattes are going to be a lot harder to hit pan in and like move out. So I think going forward, what I'm going to do is just pick a few, 1 to 2 matte shades a month and just like use those every time that I can. And then once I hit pan on them, move to a next one. And if it ends up by the end of the year, we haven't actually finished off any matte shades, but they all have pan on them, like I would be happy with that. The shimmers in here, I could actually like finish off. It's a much softer formula. So yeah, I have also this past month, I do use Orchid and Wisteria quite a bit together, especially when I'm doing like a purpley like lid look. Hopefully you can kind of see. I don't know if the dips have gotten any bigger in those, but I have used them a time or two. And then the other matte shades within here, other than Camel, because I did go back and forth at first between like Camel and Sepia, which one I wanted to kind of like focus on. So other than Camel, I haven't touched any of these other matte shades like Brownstone, Lilac. I think I might have used Mulberry in my outer corner, but that's about it for that. I did not use Opal this month. I did use Sand twice. And so here is Sand. I know it looks very washed out. It is like, it's like a light gold color. It's really pretty, but I do have other swatches on my hands I like pre-swatched some things, so ignore those until we get to them. But here is sand, and you can see like it's a light gold. It's like the reverse of opal, where opal is like white with a gold shift. Sand is like that gold, but like with a white shift. Like the base of it is a gold color, whereas opal's base color is more like white, if that makes sense. And sand isn't a bad color. It's just, I don't know, it's not like my favorite out of the lid colors that I do have in here. So I'm almost tempted to really try to use that one a lot more this month and like not allow myself to play around with the ones that I really like. That way I can actually get that one moved out of here. I would rather struggle now and use up my least favorite like lid shade and get that out of the way, and then almost like reward myself with getting to use the ones that I actually enjoy. Hopefully that makes sense. I think you can tell too with copper, we expanded the pan. Now we're very close to side pan there. Didn't quite make it, but copper, I'm still just enjoying using that in my crease with like a pinky lid look. It's really pretty. And then you'll notice here we have new pan, which is apricot. And so it's springtime, and like this palette obviously is very neutral. And even the colorful shades in here are very neutral. But apricot and blush, I was like so ready for spring, you know, when I brought this in January, because I was like, I'm gonna have so much fun with that peachy shade and that pink shade. But apricot is very similar to blush in the sense that like it could be a really pretty color, but it just doesn't live up to like what you see in the pan, in my opinion. So I was really like, what do I do? What do I do? I ended up trying apricot in the crease, and I actually really like that. I used it a handful of times with vanilla, and I don't know, it's just, it really helps. Like I liked it in the crease and like the outer corner, and it just gave vanilla a little bit more depth, if that makes sense. So I don't mind to continue using it that way, and we'll finish it off that way. The only thing that saddens me is that this palette is mostly crease shades. So I think what I'll do is once I finish up all of like the lid shades that I really like, you know, get all of those moved out, then I'll make like a little, I have like another small little magnetic palette from ColourPop. So I could just put some single like eyeshadows into there and kind of like make my own like little palette of lid shades to complement this. That's like my thought process going forward. The pan on blush is empty. We will get to that one. And then with cashmere, I think you can tell we have expanded the pan on that. Hopefully you can tell that like that corner has been cleared out. I have just, I mean, obviously you can tell we did hit our goal of finishing off Smoky Topaz. So once Smoky Topaz was gone, in this past month, I was wearing it more as like a lid shade than the crease shade. And I just loved it so much. And after I finished it off, I just switched over to using cashmere. And so I've really fallen in love with that shade. I thought when you look at them in the pan, cashmere and vanilla look very, very similar. But vanilla is just like a true like white shimmer shade. And cashmere, while it does have like a white undertone to it, it's more of like a gray taupey like lid shade. And so I like that one a lot more. Vanilla just doesn't offer enough like depth to me, if that makes sense. Like that's why I was like kind of essentially blending it with apricot. But I don't mind, like I really enjoyed that, and I'm interested to try vanilla with other like light pastel shades in that sense. So I have no problem like using that one off. And then yeah, like I said, we did finish off Smoky Topaz. So Smoky Topaz makes our fourth shade that we have finished off within this palette. Going forward, I would really love to, I think, just continue to focus on Sepia as a matte shade, and then Orchid and Wisteria when I do like a more like pinky purple look. And then I would love to, like I say, try to use sand more this month. But I am, since cashmere doesn't have like too terribly much, I would like to see how much more we can get through with him. So I think sand and cashmere will be like my two focused like lid shades this month. And then yeah, like copper, apricot, all of that go along with it. So, and I would also like to get back into the habit of using maroon to deepen out my outer V. The pan on there, or the dip, I'm sorry, I think you can tell is kind of big, and I would like to hit pan on that. That would be great if we could accomplish that. That's a lot of goals, but I think we'll be able to do it. So let's talk about blush. Thank you for all of your helpful suggestions in my like let's Franken my pan that palette video. So you guys, it was amazing. Like you had so many creative and just nice ideas that like I did not think of, and especially for the darker shades within that palette. So obviously you can tell that I didn't like do anything with the darker shades. So let me explain. What I did with blush, I ended up making 2 lid shades with blush essentially. And so that's just a lot. It's a lot more product that I added in, and it kind of like was a little overwhelming. So I didn't mess with the dark lid shades just yet. I want to finish off some more of these like lighter lid shades first. And then my hope would be that most of those lighter lid shades could be finished by the time like fall and winter roll around. And so then I can take all of your suggestions and Franken those darker shades and make lid shades that way. So I have like taken notes from that video and everything, like from your comments. So yeah, those are going to come in handy later on in the year, but I do appreciate all of the input. So what did we do with blush? I ended up taking about half of blush and half of that steel wool shade from my Lorac Mega Pro 4 palette, and I just made like this really interesting, well, I think it's interesting, but it's like a taupey blue like lid shade. It's really pretty. I am actually really liking this. I haven't used it yet as a lid shade, but to me it does seem like something I could wear all year round. Like I am excited to bust that out. The only reason I haven't like really touched it and tested it out was because what I did with the other half of blush was I had forgot this existed in my collection, so I didn't mention it in that video. But I had been gifted a loose pigment from Pat McGrath Labs, and it was like this, it was just a light pink, like with a little bit of glitter to it. It was everything that I actually wanted blush to be, and it lived up to like, it performed well. So when I found that in my collection, I was like, well, that's what I'm mixing blush with, because that way it's still the color that I wanted, like a light pink, but it actually does what I want. So here's what it ended up looking like. And you can tell the pan is it's not as thin as on that other shade I just showed you that we made. There is a dip in it because I have been wearing this a lot this past month. I just really love those pink shades on my lid. So here it is swatched out. Hopefully you can tell. I don't think the glitters are going to pick up on camera. They're just very, I don't think the glitters are going to pick up on camera. They're like a very, they're like a light pink glitter. But it is really pretty. So I'm very happy that like I did that. I think that blush will be much more enjoyable now. And so then the last thing we'll ramble on about is that I had brought in the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette for a cream shade, and now I'm kind of mad. I didn't like track my progress, like I didn't tally my usage on this. I could safely say that I probably wore makeup like at least 20 days this past month, I would say. And a lot of those times too, like if I'm bored at night and I'll take off my makeup that I did in the morning and then just redo it at night. Like it's fun playtime. So probably ended up wearing it more than 20 times because it was the lid shade that I used. But I did hit pan in it. Hopefully you can see. It's not like that big of pan, but it is pan there nonetheless. So this shadow, yes, they are much more firmly packed, but also the cream shade was like the easiest thing that I could have hit pan on because like I'm taking that all over the lid and all the way up to my brow. So that's just how I like to use those and set my lids. I don't use like a traditional highlight shade underneath my brow bone. I've just never like fallen in love with that. So, and yeah, look at that shade match, y'all. I promise. But look, it matches like my neck. Like my hands are just ghostly pale. I am like 4 different shades all over my whole body. That is not what you came here to hear though. Lost my train of thought. Don't even know where I was going with anything there. So that's a good sign just to end the video, right? Okay. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will catch you in the next one, and I hope that you are having a good, let's see, this will go up on Friday, so I hope you have a good weekend, okay? All right, I'll see you on Monday. Goodbye.